Midnight Train to Memphis by Chris Stapleton is in standard tuning, and the main riff, though it may sound kind of technical, is really very attainable even for beginners. It's based around an E chord and an A chord, where the shifting of the chords is pretty much just a movement of your first finger down a string, like you see me mimicking right there. The opening of the song, where he's kind of just randomly striking those two chords, the way that you do that is you put your first finger on the 6th string 2nd fret, and you bar also the 4th string 2nd fret with an open E string, and that's your E minor chord. You strike that, and then you put your 2nd finger down on the 6th string 3rd fret and pull it like you're wanting to bend it up to an A note, almost like that action. So as you bend it, before you actually bend it up to the actual A note, before you actually get to the A, on the bend, you shift your first finger from the E minor to the A, and then you just strike the A chord. And he kind of bends back down into the E minor. That's what he's doing at the very beginning. And then the main riff, the way that you execute that is basically the same thing that I just showed you. You use your first finger to make a barred E minor chord across the 5th and 4th strings on the 2nd fret, and you've got your open 6th string, and really those are the 3 strings that you're worried about in the E minor chord, just those 3. And you use your 2nd finger to pull on the 6th string 3rd fret to pull it up towards an A. And before you get it up to the A, you actually then switch your fingers down to the A chord. And then you bend out of the G again, and then bend back down to the E minor. And you can hear Chris Stapleton just strumming muted strings. The rhythm that he's strumming is, it's really pretty standard up and down. So it does that main riff back and forth for like 4 bars, kind of lingering on the E minor and the rhythmic muted strumming. It does that for like 4 bars while he sings a verse, and then it goes to the chorus, which is going to be on a D. A standard D chord, I leave the first string open so I don't plant down my 2nd finger, and I think Chris Stapleton is doing the same thing. So whenever you move to the D, there's still bending that takes place with your 2nd finger, this time on the 5th string 3rd fret out of this C note. And you're basically doing the exact same idea as before, where before you were bending this G trying to get to the A. This time you're bending the C trying to kind of lead up into a D, and you get a sound like this. And that's the D part of the chorus. So that you can see that again, when we play it slow, you're striking the D chord, and then you're pulling with your 2nd finger in the C note, kind of pulling it towards your 1st and 3rd fingers, but also pulling towards the sonic tone of a D. And then once you get almost to the D, you release your 2nd finger and then strum into the actual D chord that you've got here with your 1st and 3rd fingers. And then it goes back into the main riff of... After it does that, then it comes up to a B like 5 power chord, I've got my first finger on the 5th string 2nd fret, ring finger on the 4th string 4th fret, pinky finger on the 3rd string 4th fret, and I'm just playing the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings on this. It strikes that for one round and walks down to an A by taking this formation and just lowering it 1 fret to hit this, and then going into the A. So you've got B, B flat or A sharp, I'm not sure the difference, for just one note, and then into the A. So it's and then back into the E movement. Now after the chorus is where it kind of gets a little bit technical in terms of your picking. He does a little quick riff, or several quick riffs on the guitar. The first is, and the way that you do that is it starts on an open 6th string, and then it goes to the 6th string 3rd fret. I use my ring finger, and then it hits the open 5th string behind it, and then 1st finger to the 5th string 1st fret, 2nd finger to the 5th string 2nd fret, open 4th string behind that, 2nd finger back to the 5th string 2nd fret, 1st finger down to the 5th string 1st fret, open the 5th string, and then ring finger to the 6th string 3rd fret, and kind of bend a little bit as you're hitting it, and then back into the E minor. So that's that riff. And then it goes, like does that round again. And then the next riff is, the way that you play that is you fret the 3rd string on the 2nd fret with, I use my 2nd finger, and you'll put your 1st finger on the 3rd string 1st fret right below it. So 2 fingers on the same string, and you're going to strike the 3rd string 2nd fret where your 2nd finger is, and then pull off your 2nd finger to expose the fret that you got your 1st finger on. And then with your 2nd finger that you just lifted, you're going to plant it down on the 4th string 2nd fret, strike it, and pull it off. So you've got, once you get that little function down, you're going to strike the open 5th string and hammer on with your 2nd finger to the 2nd fret, and then strike the open 4th string and hammer on with your 2nd finger to the 2nd fret. So let's review where we're at. And then the last few movements of it is you're going to put your 2nd finger back down on the 3rd string 2nd fret, and then you're going to open up the 3rd string to the open G, and then hammer on with your 1st finger to the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and you get, so I didn't even play that clean. Let me show it again. And it's a lot faster than that, but you probably want to try that slow several times and then work your way up to speed of. And then out of that, what is also very hard about this little riff is you've got to go from that straight back into that E minor feel of. So the way that I'm playing it with my fingers, it's easier for me to, after I hammer on with my first finger on the 3rd string 1st fret coming out of that 2nd riff, I go to E minor with my 2nd finger, barring it right there. And then I pull with my ring finger on the 6th string 3rd fret. And then I put down my 1st finger into the A. And then I go back to how I was playing it before with my 1st and 2nd fingers. So I want to play the main riff with my 1st and 2nd fingers as much as possible because that's easiest to me. But out of this little riff, because my 1st finger is occupied up here, I've got to use my other ones, and I suspect that you'll have to kind of do the same. So like I said, I use my 2nd finger to make the E minor. I use my 3rd finger to pull, and then I slap my 1st finger back down into the A position. So far we've covered 2 of the riffs. And the 3rd time through, what he does on the album is he actually bends on the 2nd string 3rd fret up to an E note and then hits the open E string, the open 1st string behind it. The reason I didn't do that in the intro is because that's hard for me for some reason and I can't pull it off clean, but that's what he's doing. He's after the 3rd time he hits bending again from the 2nd string 3rd fret up to that E note and then hitting the open E string behind it and doing it like 3 times. Instead, what I did is something that I've heard him do live, where I run with my 2nd and 3rd fingers up to the 3rd and 4th frets, respectively, of the 2nd and 3rd string. So I've got my 2nd finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, I've got my ring finger on the 3rd string 4th fret, and then I let the open E ring out behind it. And I just strike that a bunch and then go back down to the... during one of the rounds, I think that he actually just runs up to the 12th fret and hits that several times, like... And then there's something that I'm forgetting. Oh, coming out of one of the rounds, he goes from an E minor to a G. So these will all be like power chords almost, not full bar chords, but you're going to go from open 6th string, fretted 5th string and 4th string 2nd fret to a G, 1st finger on the 6th string 3rd fret, ring finger on the 5th string 5th fret, pinky finger on the 4th string 5th fret, and then slide that up 2 more frets to an A. My computer went to sleep on me. Then you're going to, after the A's, move up to a C, and then slide that C up to a D. All just using your 1st, 3rd, and 4th fingers is what I'm using. And then back down into the E minor. And that's the electric part for Midnight Train to Memphis.